News from Gardenia, my first Unbound book, told the tale of Gavin Meckler, a rather nerdy engineer who can understand machines but has difficulty understanding women. Through a quirk in the fabric of space-time, Gavin travels 200 years into the future to a highly technologically developed world where the human race have learned to live with the planet as opposed to ravaging it. At the end of the book, Gavin tries to use the same method that transported him to the future to go back home to his own time. News from the Squares explains what happens when Gavin comes out of the mysterious cloud. He travels through a fold in the invisible blanket of time and finds himself somewhere very different, a highly advanced and densely populated megacity called London. Now this London covers the entire landmass of what remains of the British Isles. News from Gardenia explored how the human race could deal with a 200-foot rise in sea levels by turning everything down to a minimum. What I want to explore in News from the Squares is sustainability and population turned up to 11. To stir things up, the changes have to be dramatic. The single premise making this world very different from the one we live in now is simple. This world of city-states is run entirely by women. Women make up the majority of the global population and run the majority of institutions around the world. They don't do this by oppressing the men and forcing them to adopt menial roles and belittling their abilities. The arrangement has come about simply because history has shown them that men aren't very good at running a sustainable but vibrant society. The women of the Squares take their responsibilities very seriously and are focused and committed to tackling the problems and challenges the city-state faces. Gavin discovers that the men of the Squares are very happy. They like living in this social system. They raise the children, work in the gardens, run the homes, and enjoy socialising with one another. Men live longer, spend more time on their appearance, and work harder at maintaining their long-term family relationships. Yes, it's science fiction. It's a world where many of the roles adopted by genders we now think of as normal or traditional are long forgotten. It's a world where a man can find a powerful woman attractive, and a woman can find a gentler and more retiring man equally appealing. Yes, it's science fiction. For Gavin, a man from the 21st century, this state of affairs proves to be something of a challenge. News from the Squares is the second book in the News From trilogy and will address a wide range of social, political, environmental and ethical challenges we might face in the future, but paints a picture of how the human race could live in a more sustainable, less environmentally damaging and mentally healthier way in the future. And there's a couple of gags too. I'll be posting sample chapters and asking for feedback and input as the book grows. So please support News from the Squares and help bring some balance to the debate about what we should be doing now to make the future a little more bearable for our great-grandchildren.
Sorry.